we're all here together to celebrate Nancy MacKenzie's work. And it's still hard for me to fully take in that she's no longer with us, making art in her studio every day as she did for so many years. And I keep catching myself using the present tense instead of the past tense. I apologize, but as you know, we lost her in 2014, and so it's a great loss to our community, and of course to her family. She lives on through her work, and we're so lucky. We're so lucky that we can still enjoy Nancy through her work, and I know many of you share my admiration. And so today I want to sort of help us better understand her art. And I wanted to start my talk about where she came from and how it shaped her work. At a young age, Nancy was a maker and gave us glimpses into her creative abilities, making wearable art for herself and her sister out of whatever she could find. I love this image. She has created some garments, I think, out of maybe sheets or curtains for herself and her sister, which I think is just a lovely, lovely picture. Growing up on a farm in Washington State in the 1930s, she witnessed her father's resourcefulness, such as making horse corrals out of timber that grew on their land. So she pointed this image out to me, that this corral in the back was made by her father, who is on this horse here. I think a lot of what who Nancy was shaped by her childhood and her role models of her father and her mother. Nancy and her sister also collected whatever they could find on the riverbanks to make all sorts of things out of sticks and cones and pine needles. Here's a picture of Nancy and her sister building. And at school, she was very creative, but her creativity got her into trouble when her first grade teacher asked the students to draw flowers in a vase, and she drew her flowers drooping. But this artistic interpretation earned her a timeout standing in the corner. So she was ahead of her time for sure. She was not to be deterred, and with the support of her parents, both she and her sister became art teachers. And after earning her BA in art education, Nancy taught art and journalism and then went on to earn a master's in communications. She was always a maker, sewing all the time. She said when she was growing up, she was always sewing clothes for herself because she wanted to be fashionable, and that was the way she was able to do that. When Nancy's children were young, she became a community activist in the League of Women Voters and the Minnesota legislature and the president of the PTA, and she worked to integrate schools here in Minneapolis. As a mother, she continued her making, modeling toys for her children and making costumes for community theater productions. And here are a couple of, I believe, puppets. Is that right, Erica? Mm-hmm. That you got to play with when you were little?
Yes, we still have them.
Do you? That's great. That's great. That's excellent. So her influence is really evident in her two children, who are now accomplished artists and teachers. One is a writer and a paper maker, who we have right here is a model, Erica. And Nancy's art and communications background made her the perfect administrator and landed her a job at the art department at the University of Minnesota, where she met Warren MacKenzie. She soon moved into the dean's office, much to Warren's dismay, because he was hoping that she would stay in the art department and help him run the art department as head of the art department at that point in time. But he was not deterred, and he married her and enjoyed many years of her skilled support. Nancy was also an arts advocate. When she retired from the university in 1994, she began making art full-time. And as luck would have it, the Textile Center was just getting off the ground, and Nancy jumped on board to help launch the center and served as a stellar board member and committee member. And during that time, she played a vital role in developing our gallery and exhibitions and exhibition programming, and helping us bring in artists from around the world, as well as showcasing extraordinary talent we have here in Minnesota. She introduced us to Joan Mondale, who served as our honorary capital campaign chair, helping us raise $2 million for our new building. And with Nancy's help, we were able to honor Joan Mondale and start an endowment for the Textile Center Joan Mondale Gallery. Nancy contributed countless hours to the Textile Center, selecting artists, hanging shows, coordinating runway shows, and organizing benefits. And not only did she play a vital role in behind-the-scenes organization, but she also had stunning work in all the shows we produced. She was the consummate mentor to me during a very challenging process of founding an arts organization. And I am forever grateful for that. She also hosted countless dinner parties for artists from around the world in her home by magically whipping up gourmet meals for thoughtfully selected guest lists of artists and advocates. Her positive impact on the arts community was enormous. Nancy was trained in painting and drawing, but when she took workshops in the 1980s on surface design and painting on textiles, she was hooked, and spent many years painting silk scarves and making garments with very impressive results. Here she is in her studio. And here, this is a stretching device that she created that she used for painting her scarves to keep them flat while she was painting. And here are some of the beautiful results with a beautiful model. She painted many beautiful designs, which she sewed into garments and sold at art shows. And maybe some of you remember at Erica Boza's shop. And she began identifying herself as a fiber artist. So with the influence of growing up in the Depression, Nancy was always on the outlook for materials she could recycle into her art. The neighbors' horses offered up baling twine from their hay bales, and a new line of artware was launched. When the baling twine was sewed into channels, it provided a structure for the soft fabric and could be shaped into forms which made Nancy's artwork become very three-dimensional. Nancy's work has been selected to appear in numerous runway shows across the country and, of course, in the Twin Cities. Nancy could make stunning artware out of almost any material. This sassy dress was made of plastic netting. The same material was turned into this exotic look, and this same material became this elegant ensemble. After the baling twine was followed by onion bags that came in saturated colors and could be found at most grocery stores. Nancy's designs using this unlikely materials were both sophisticated and totally fun. Nancy's garments, onion bag garments, were always a highlight of the Textile Center's Artwear in Motion runway shows. So after Nancy's garments had become well known, she had friends bring her onion bags from around the world to expand her color palettes and textures. She used recycling materials such as screen and barbed wire to make artware with a message. These social commentary works started to come off the body and go onto the wall, where the three-dimensional piece is not inhibited by arms and legs that need to move within the garment. And as she did this, her work became increasingly sculptural. And with Nancy's inspiration, the Textile Center produced a biannual juried show called Nothing New, for the Textile Center Gallery, which attracted artists from around the world and who were generating extraordinary art from recycled materials. Nancy had become famous for her use of recycled or upcycled materials in the art world, and the American Craft Council invited Nancy and her daughter Erica to create a garment of recycled industrial plastic tubing for the American Craft magazine. Is that correct?
Well, actually, we have blackout blinds and those old-fashioned paper cups that were cone-shaped to make this outfit.
So there wasn't any tubing. I
No
had that
tubing.
wrong. Sorry. Another one of Nancy's finds were dogwood twigs that were being used to decorate the front of the MIA. And ever resourceful, she asked if she could have them when they had finished, and yet another art form was launched. After her first twig find, she began to collect willow and apple tree trimmings that she combined with other found materials, tied together with wax linen for secure knots to hold their shape and form. Nancy's work has been exhibited around the world in numerous publications because of her extraordinary talent and skills. Working with materials that were scavenged was demanding and required technical engineering to find the aesthetic solution. Her techniques had not previously been tried and necessitated innovation and determination to accomplish. I believe the essence of Nancy's brilliance and talent was the ability to let the medium inform her work. She was fascinated with the process of transforming ordinary materials into unique forms that spark imagination. And I think this is what truly made her a master artist. And to quote Nancy, "I produce one-of-a-kind pieces that are designed to engage the eye over many years of intimate observation." So I hope you enjoy her work as much as I do for many years to come. Thank you.